Hey guys, welcome back. What's up? Back at the channel. So, seems to have gotten quite a bit of interest in my cemetery video of Mary Carr. The grave that I visited, where I had quite a bit of really weird, unexplained stuff happen. Um, a lot of people are interested and wondering where exactly this is, how to find it, how to locate Mary's grave, etc., etc., right? Um, so, the cemetery is Concord Cemetery. I think if you want to get more specific, I think it's like Concord East or Concord West or something like that. But if you go to just literally go onto Google and just type in Concord Cemetery, um, there's only two, from what I'm understanding, there's only two cemeteries in Grove City, and the other one's literally just called Grove City Cemetery. There's only one Concord. So it's very hard to mix those up, guys. This place is pretty easy to find. You go up to 665, okay, and you turn at where the CVS, the CVS pharmacy right there at that four-way intersection. You turn right there, where the Concord Chapel animal veterinarian place is. It looks like an old white church, and between the CVS and that old white church, it's back there. You have to go in there, and you have to find. There's different sections. There's like, and they're labeled with signs, but the signs are a little hard to find because they're kind of small, but they're blue. So go in there, look for the blue signs, and it'll say new section. Then it'll have a number, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's going to be the older ones, and those are the ones that you're looking for. It's going to say old section. And from, at least, I walked around for quite a bit. The only sections that I could find were old section 4, 3, 2, and I could not locate section 1 for some reason. I don't know where it's at. And I'm not exactly sure which of those old sections where Mary's grave is located, but it's not very hard to find. Um, and I did some researching and stuff like that. It seems to be that Mary Carr is like literally the only person in this entire cemetery that died on Halloween on October 31st. Like the only person, at least from what I was finding on the internet. There's a page that you can go to. I think it's through the cemetery. You go online and you can actually type in people's names and find what plot and what section they're at. So you can try that also if you want to. But she seems to be the only person that died on Halloween, October 31st. And according to the ages and stuff like that, it seems like she died at 29 years old, which is pretty young and pretty unusual. Now, granted, it was like the 1800s, and conditions weren't exactly the greatest back in those days. I mean, how conditions weren't even that great, like in the 20s or 30s. So, I don't know. But died at 29 years old on Halloween. It's a little weird. And, you mix all that with like all the weird stuff that happened to me during my visit and my personal experience. My phone literally went from like the 30% battery range and literally just dropped all the way down to like 15%, which my phone never does that. My phone's not created or programmed that way. It doesn't matter how much battery I'm using, yada, yada, yada. My phone will come through the 30s and continue through the 20s before it hits 15. It will never just go straight from 15 or from 30 to 15%. It just doesn't work that way. And I was having some glitches. My brightness was acting all nuts. Like it was like getting bright, dark, bright, dark, bright, dark, like really fast and stuff like that. And it seemed to only kind of happen when I went over there and I was like literally reading of her date of death seems to be when it was happening. So every time I would go, what was that? Hang on a second. Okay. As you heard, there's a freaking fire truck that pulled out and left. But anyway, like every time that I would read like her date of death, um, weird stuff would happen with my phone. I'd get brightness raising and lowering, which is weird because my phone doesn't really. I don't know. It's odd because you can't adjust your brightness while you're filming or anything like that. I think you can adjust it when you're taking photos, but right, like as soon as you start recording with your phone, mine doesn't let me change the brightness if I've already started filming. You have to already get that set prior to filming. So anything where it's brightening and lowering, that's like the phone itself, like the lens inside of it, kind of like when your phone tries to autofocus by itself or something like that. It's similar to something like that, but I don't know why it would do that. It doesn't really make any sense. I mean, it would do it if there was like drastic, like if I was filming and all of a sudden like the sun came out or something like that, then it would, adjust the brightness by itself. But nothing like that happened. It stayed the same. You know what I mean? So there's no reason why my brightness would change like that all of a sudden for no reason. I do not know. I didn't catch it when it happened the first time, because I was actually staring at her grave. I was trying to read her grave because it's really old, like it's from the 1800s, and it's really hard to make out a lot of the stuff on her headstone. So I was looking at the headstone instead of my phone during that time, and I didn't catch it the first time. Um, all I remember is I then looked over at my phone, and my screen was like already dark, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird." Like, you know what I mean? But then when I went back to the car and I reviewed the footage, and I saw the weird stuff happen, I was like, "Holy crap!" So then I got back out of the car, walked back over to the grave, and tried it again, and sure enough, a similar thing happened. It was very strange. It was really weird. Um, but yeah, so you go in there. It's Mary Carr, wife of C.E. Carr. I mean, it's kind of hard to find, guys. But she's the only one in there that died on October 31st on Halloween. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like I said, your probably best bet is to go online to the cemetery site, type in her name, and it can give you the exact, I think, like the exact location and plot number of where she's buried exactly. And then, you guys can try your own experiments. Like you can go out there, try to communicate with her, talk to her, try to record, take your own photos and stuff like that. Maybe you'll catch some orbs or some weird activity on film. I haven't tried that yet. I haven't tried actually communicating with her. That could be interesting. I don't know. But all right, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. But yeah, those of you wondering how to find her grave and how to find that cemetery in particular, go to Google, type in Concord Cemetery in Grove City. It's literally the only Concord cemetery in the area. Between the Concord Animal Chapel, it's a white church-looking veterinarian place, and the CVS pharmacy, and it's like right around there on 665. And it's just Mary Carr, wife of C.E. Carr. And you should be able to find it. I hope, hopefully, you know what I mean. But all right, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. Hope this was a little bit more helpful with this. A lot of people were interested in locating the cemetery and locating Mary's grave, etc. So I thought I would help to try to clarify as much as I could as to exactly where it's at. But that's going to do it for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.